Shalom everyone, Boker Tov, Rabbi Eric Solomon, Raleigh, North Carolina, Wednesday, May 27th. Just a few days before receiving the Torah on Shavuot, once again, from Mount Sinai, the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai, one of the holiest moments in world history, certainly in Jewish history. Now, one of the lines in that experience, which is often quoted in our Jewish community and even by commentators, is there's an interesting use of the word Vayichan. Vayichan, the people, Vayichan ha'am. It says that the people, while the Torah has been given to Mount Sinai to Moshe, the people are down below. And it should say the people were gathered or united together and parked, ready, in the plural, because there was a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people according to the Torah. But it doesn't, the Hebrew is a singular, Vayichan Moshe, Vayichan ha'am. Which the rabbi is saying, I think it's, Rashi says, kind of like lev echad, am echad, lev echad, something like this. That in this moment when we received the Torah, our people were incredibly united, perhaps united in no way in any other time in Jewish history. We were ready to receive it together. We were one. We were bonded. We felt responsible and connected one to the other. Now that is the beautiful piece. That's like the positive piece of being united in receiving Torah and connecting with God. And a people that often is fractious and challenged, we came together. But being united and bonded on a mission, being connected with others with a sense of going somewhere to the promised land, also has not just the joys of connection, which is great, but responsibilities. And that's the Talmud passage I placed there as well. What happens if someone in that group who you feel bonded with, who you united with, and the Talmud says, even if it's in your household, or it's in your city, or it's in your country, or it's in the whole world, what if, God forbid, someone in that group that you feel so bounded as one with when the Torah was given, has a misdeed, does a sin? One way to look at it is that sin occurred, and, let's push those people out of the camp, let's punish them, put them away. Nothing wrong with that. That's appropriate. But another question that the Talmud asks says, look, if this is happening in your united people, even if you yourself didn't do the act, but you witnessed the act, if you didn't protest it clearly, then you're part of it. Because if you're united with this people in the good times, and united with these people when we receive the Torah, then you're also united with these people when they do terrible things. And the role of a community is to lovingly, thoughtfully, and clearly tell that person that I'm united with you. We are brothers and sisters. But I will not stand idly by while my neighbor bleeds, and I'm going to call you out. I'm going to say it. Your behavior is... I'm going to come back and I'll close in a second about what happens if you think people aren't going to listen to you. I'm going to come back to that. Right now, it's been going on for a while, but right in this moment, we don't just have a medical pandemic. In this past 48 hours, we have a moral pandemic. We have a disease where numerous cases of men of color have been murdered or attacked in ways that are insanely corrupt. And I use the word corrupt in a moral sense. We all understand that there are bad apples in society. Not all police officers kill or act in this way towards men of color. Not all residents of Georgia attack joggers who are running through a neighborhood. That is clear. But some do. Some place their neck on an unarmed man and kill him. Some white citizens in New York believe that they can use the police and attack and threaten an African-American man and use a lie and use their power and privilege to threaten him. Well, thank God for the police there, for example. It's not all about the police. This is about the ability of a certain privileged class in our society, sadly, it still exists, using its privilege to literally attack, maim, threaten, and murder people of color. So the question is, what do we do about it? All of us, good, well-hearted, would never do such a thing, totally disagree, think it's terrible. Do we just sit back and say, oh, I know, it's so terrible. Ugh. The Talmud says, those that do not protest with who they are unified with, these are Americans. This is our country. Those that do not protest share in responsibility for the misdeeds. If you share in the joys, if you share in defense, then you also share in responsibility to protest and to say out loud, this is not only unacceptable, it's immoral. There's a pandemic on the soul of this country, and we must step up. And I want to say specifically to my Jewish brothers and sisters that first and foremost, this is an issue because our society and we are connected as American Jews. But secondly, and we see all as our brothers and sisters, secondly, there are members of our own community who are Jews of color who experience this as well, sadly, sometimes within our own communities, but certainly within society. So there is a self-interest, Jews of color, in our own place. But even moving beyond that, Jews in general, we are experiencing as well. If we believe that Gentiles should step up and protest the misdeeds of the world, like when our synagogues are shut up, or when a tweet storms happen of white supremacists that pick and anti-Semitically attack us, then who are we to sit back if we don't stand up and protest the misdeeds of society? What we expect from others, we must do as well. Out of self-interest, out of the fact that they're Jews of color in our community, and because it's the right thing to do, or we share in responsibility. Even if we ourselves didn't pull the trigger or put our knee on the neck. You know, Heschel said, some are guilty, but all are responsible. That's what this means here, this text. And here's what I want to close with, Elie Wiesel. Elie Wiesel in his commentary about the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm not going to tell the story right now, but you know the Sodom and Gomorrah story about it's going to heck, and Abraham decides whether to save it or not, and negotiates with God about it. In the end, one of the questions Elie brings out of the Sodom and Gomorrah story, because in the end, Sodom and Gomorrah is actually destroyed. Abraham is unsuccessful in convincing God or the city to change its ways. So one of the questions asked, and Elie Wiesel always asked this question, may rest in peace, the great Holocaust survivor, Nobel laureate for peace, spoke out for justice for all and hatred and against all, etc. So, against hatred. He said, why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep speaking up for justice? Why do you keep speaking up against hatred? You know that sadly, look at world history. So many people don't change. They don't stop. It keeps happening. The Shoah, there was Rwanda, there was Serbia, there were other continued genocides. You could argue anyway, point is, it continues. Why, Elie, why don't you just give up already? Right? And his response was, I don't protest misdeeds of my city, country, community, world simply because it's wrong or only because I think I'm going to be effective. Who knows if I'm going to be effective? When I protest and raise up my voice, I hope it will have influence. I hope it will make a difference. I protest, I stand up to remind myself that I'm not them. And when I stay quiet, I become them. My words remind me that this cannot happen on my watch, and I will not let this become part of my neshama, of my soul. Is it effective? Who knows? I actually think that we're stronger than we think. The Torah teaches us that as well. It's become Moses. But certainly being quiet is a sin. What can you do? You can demand from the president on down, but certainly localities where these occur, but certainly from the top, that this be spoken about continuously, that the murder, attack, hatred of particularly people of color in our society right now, by governmental powers, but also by citizens, is absolutely wrong. And I would say what the Talmud's saying, and if you just sit back and say, well, I do think it's wrong, but I don't know. You share in the responsibility too. we all do, including me, by the way. We all do. This is the time to protest. Not necessarily to change them, but make sure they don't change us. The Torah was given. We were united as one. If we're one, we're not just one in the simchas and dancing the hora. We're also one when we tell people, our brothers and sisters, they're sinning and they need to be told. We cannot be silent. Mitzvah for the day, maybe mitzvah for the week, maybe mitzvah for the year. Go. Chazak v'amatz. Be strong and courageous. Shalom.